Greetings and welcome to LNTV News Live, 30 minutes of all the news from Liberia, Africa, and the rest of tour. I'm your presenter, Maxwell Johnson. Topping news, LNTV News Live this morning. Liberia and Ethiopia pledge commitment to strengthening bilateral ties on the sidelines of President George Manawia's visit to Senegal. 3 civil society organizations in Liberia advanced an 8-count recommendations meant to help government in tackling current economic and social issues. Liberia assumes Deputy Executive Chairperson position on the African Youth Committee, and of the Home Front report said Algerians have been celebrating in Algiers after President Abdulaziz Bouteflika announced his resignation after more than 20 years in power. The story plus more coming up on this edition of LNTV News Live. I'm taking a break. When I come back, I'll bring you the details. Welcome back to LNTV News Live. We now take our first story. President George Manawiya has underscored Liberia's quest towards strengthening international cooperation with friendly nations. President Weah said the fostering of bilateral ties with friendly nations is the foundation of building a strong and prosperous nation. The Liberian leader is currently in Senegal and had already attended the inauguration ceremony of Senegalese President Macky Sall and will take part in the country's Independence Day celebration on April 4. President Weah has also met with Ethiopian President Saleh Work Zawi, and the two leaders stressed the need for improved diplomatic relations. President Weah consoled the government and people of Ethiopia for the deaths of 157 people in a plane crash last month while on board an Ethiopia Airlines flight. The Liberian chief executive pleaded with his Ethiopian counterpart for Ethiopia Airlines to resume flight to Monrovia. The requested President Saleh Work Zadi and other African countries to tap. He requested President Saleh Work Zadi and other African countries to tap into Liberia's warmth and rewarding business climate. Responding, President Saleh Work Zadi said she was happy that Liberia's nightmares, including the civil war and Ebola crisis, were over. Riverside County Senator Dallas Gued says campaigning for the ensuing 2020 senatorial elections will in no way affect those senators who voted for the impeachment of former Associate Justice Cabinet Janet. According to Senator Dallas Gued, as an individual senator, he believes he voted his conscience in a just ended trial. He made the assertion Tuesday in an ELBC interview.
Perception, you are saying perception, not the fact. When they get to know the fact, the reason why we voted the way we voted, they're going to pick me up. And I will show you the video when I come from Riverside next week. I will show you the video that they picked me up and they took me on their shoulders because of the decision I took. It is in their interest, and they will applaud me from now to the generations on end.
Well, we'll see how it fares.
Daniel, the impeachment trial had 2 sides. They had the political side, it had the legal side. And we have to weigh all of these issues from the both ends to make those decisions. And sometimes in any decision that we take as politicians, sometimes one side outweighs the other.
Some people feel that, most of the senators, or almost all of the senators, are up for re-election. So why not 15 of the senators are up for re-election? So it's possible, it's logical politically that they will go the way of the executive.
How about we had 22, that 15 senators going for re-election, and 22 voted for conviction? So then, are they also going for a re-election? People voted their mind. People voted in what they believe in. People took those decisions they wanted to take because they believed they was in the best interest of this country. Trust me. If it is a filthy lucre, then Dallas Gued has no right being there, because I'm a simple man. I live a very simple life. Money is not my. I have been bribed and refused bribe in this country before, since I became a senator.
Who bribed you?
I know that we cannot go down that road now. But trust me, I have refused it, and some of the senators that sit in the house with me know what I'm talking about, because they were the conduit for some of those things, and I rejected in time past.
Meanwhile, Senator Guer said he owes no apology to anyone for the way he voted, and that the Liberian Senate was even very generous in convicting former Justice Janet on only one of the 4 counts brought forward by the lower house.
It was ironic on their part to say we took part in it, we raised questions, and these people who raised the strongest voices of dissent were the people who raised the whole issue, the longest and loudest questions to all of the witnesses that took part in the proceeding. Now, having done that, to come now to consummate the process by casting your vote, whether this alleged violations are done by the impeached associate justice, you chose not to cast your vote. That is still a vote in the Liberian Senate. If you choose not to vote, it's still a vote to abstain. It's part of our record that you abstain from the process. That means you have not formed a decision. And if you cannot make a decision as a politician, then what kind of politician are you? I believe in my conscience. I believe in what I do. And I have no regret for whatever decision I made. I said it previously, and I will say it now and again, that I'm unapologetic in the decision that I took, as a senator. It was for Liberia. And trust me.
At the same time, Nima County Senator Thomas Grupi has expressed his disappointment in the 7 senators who abstained from voting in the impeachment trial of former Associate Justice Kabina Janet.
I'm sitting here as Senator Thomas Grupi, as an individual who played a role, and I'm sitting here as a member of the Liberian Senate when an action has been taken by an institution. Whether you disagree or agree, you are part and parcel of the decision.
So you know what you are saying, that
I'm saying that
you are part of a whole.
Yes.
So you were able to vote to convict Kabina.
I did not vote to convict Kabina, but member of the Senate voted to convict Kabina, and therefore the Senate voted to convict Kabina.
Senator, why couldn't you? Because I understand.
I know where you are going. I know where you are going.
Where am I going?
But my vote, I have 1 vote in the Liberian Senate. I'm from a county that had 2 senators, Senator Prince Johnson and Senator Thomas Grupi. They both all had 2 votes. We had 29 senators. It was 20 senators required to convict, Kabina. It was 10 senators required to acquit Kabina, and the 10 senators all might vote no.
3 civil society organizations in Liberia have advanced an 8-count recommendations to help government tackle some of the economic and social issues confronting the country. They include the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia, Institute for Research and Diplomatic and Democracy Development, and the National Youth Movement for Transparency election. Their recommendations were read by the Executive Director of the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia, Anosin Miamen.
Recommendations. 1, we call on the President of Liberia to take leadership in the fight against corruption. We are calling on the President, the legislature, and the government at large to ensure the respect for the rule of law and the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. We are also calling on the Liberian National Police to be proactive and more efficient in the discharge of their duties. We call on all citizens, particularly young people, to stop the use of violence as a means of seeking redress and rather use constitutionally established channels for grievance redress. Also, we are calling on the government to conduct a comprehensive audit of the past administration to ensure that individuals who misapply public resources are identified and prosecuted in keeping with relevant Liberian laws. We are also calling on the government for the timely completion of all ongoing investigations it has launched and the completion and release of reports by a number of committees it has constituted. Additionally,
about 10 Ghanaian nationals have been arrested and charged by the Monrovia City Court with theft of property and economic sabotage. Court record shows that in March 2019, the 10 Ghanaian nationals without any legal rights purposely and intentionally engaged themselves in illegal mining in Manjo Town in Todi District, Monserrado County. They allegedly used dredge machines and other equipment to deprive the Liberian government of needed revenues. The court document described the act by the 10 Ghanaian nationals as unlawful, wicked, and in violation of Section 15.51 and 15.80 of the revised Penal Code of Liberia. Liberia has been elected as the Deputy Executive Chairperson on the African Youth Committee. The Secretary General of the Federation of Liberian Youth FLAB, Flomo Mao, was elected to the post at the recent third Pan-African Youth Conference in Banjul, the Gambia. Mr. Mao made a disclosure Tuesday at the news conference in Monrovia.
The overall objective of the conference was to, one, create youth-led open space for young people to interact and promote Pan-Africanism, participate in implementation of African unity projects, inspire and encourage active youth leadership and participation in social, economic, and political sphere at all levels, dialogue and interact with policymakers to amplify youth voices in policies and decision-making processes, encourage youth-led actions on curbing cross-border youth, irregular migration, and children on the move in Africa, and to connect, build alliance, and the capacity of youth influence policy and practices of their national governments, the African Union, regional economic community, and youth development actors on the continent of Africa. 6 thematic areas aligned to the AYC Strategic Plan 2018 to 2020 and the Gambia Youth Program of Actions on Youth were the strategic subject of discussion at the conference. What Liberia stands to benefit is that with the presence of a Liberian at this level of continental arena when it comes to youth development issue, we will be able to communicate adequately the interest and represent the Liberian young people in Liberia in general at the level of the continental body, the African Youth Commission.
Criminal Code A Tuesday sentenced a Fulani national Saliu Jallo for 3 years on manslaughter beginning Tuesday, April 2, 2019. Defendant Saliu was sentenced for killing his friend Alpha Jallo on November 26, 2018 in the West Point community in Monrovia. According to court records, the defendant was earlier charged for murder and indicted in November 2018, but he later confessed to the commission of the item pleaded with the court for mercy. Alpha Jallo and his brother were in the process of boiling Atayu when defendant Saliu Jallo ruthlessly choked him almost to death. The court record said defendant accused Alpha Jallo of having an affair with his wife. During the scuffle, the deceased brother, along with their neighbors, tried to intervene, but in vain, as their intervention annoyed the accused and resulted to stabbing Alpha Jallo to death with a silver blade. During his trial Tuesday, defense lawyers prayed the court to reduce the charge from murder to manslaughter because, according to them, defendant Saliu acted out of provocation and mistake. Predicated upon defendant's admittance to the commission of the crime out of provocation and mistake, the court then decided to have mercy on him by reducing the crime from murder to manslaughter. Indeed, if you just joined us, a reminder that you are watching LNTV News Live, 30 minutes of other news from Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. I'm your anchor, Maxwell Johnson. And stories topping LNTV News Live this morning. Liberia and Ethiopia pledge commitment to strengthening bilateral ties on the sidelines of President George Manawia's visit to Senegal. 3 civil society organizations in Liberia advanced an 8-count recommendations meant to help government in tackling current economic and social issues. Liberia assumes deputy executive chairperson position on the African Youth Committee. Another Home Front report said Algerians have been celebrating in Algiers after President Abdulaziz Bouteflika announced his resignation after more than 20 years in power. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll bring you more development. Please keep watching. We'll be right back. Welcome back to LNTV News Live. We'll now take another story. Members of the Muslim community under the banner Bengoma is commending President George Manewia for nominating Judge Yusuf Kaba as Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of Liberia. According to the chairperson of Bengoma, Hawa Keita, the nomination of Judge Kaba by the president is in the right direction. But Keita spoke Tuesday at the press conference on the Bushra Island.
We exceedingly grateful to His Excellency President George Weah for his far-sighted and religious sensitive nominations of Judge Yusuf D. Kaba as Associate Justice of the Honorable Supreme Court of Liberia. Since President Weah's ascendances to the presidencies of the Republic of Liberia, he promised to lead Liberia with high respect for religious and ethnic backgrounds. He has upheld his fundamental values as guaranteed under the constitutions. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mandingo community follow religious sentiment which characterized the impeachment proceeding of one of our kinsmen, former Justice Cabinet Jalin. Some individuals attempted to bring divides and roots in the Mandingo community. Those spreading misinformation about Justice Johnny impeachment, some even insinuated that the impeachment of Justice Johnny was an attempt on the part of the president to sadden the Mandingo and Muslim community. Ladies and gentlemen, while we appreciate the immeasurable role played by Justice Johnny, we are very pleased, appreciative of President Weah's demonstration of religious and ethnic tolerance by nominating Mandingo Muslim on the Supreme Court bench. Words are inadequate to express to the President how grateful we are for the nomination of Judge Yusuf D. Kaba on the bench of highest court in the land.
The chairperson of the House Senate Committee on Agriculture at the House of Representatives, Honorable Prince Tokba of District Number 2, Nima County, and colleagues over the weekend towards several agricultural projects in Bong and Nima counties. We have a report.
Was aimed at monitoring the agricultural projects in both Nimba and Bong counties, especially in the area of cocoa production. Most of the cocoa and subsistence farming projects are being sponsored by international NGOs and implemented by a local NGO, Solidaridad. Solidaridad is already training several subsistence farmers in how to increase their yields to maximize productivity. During the tour in Nimba and Bong counties, the farmers expressed their appreciation to Solidaridad for empowering them with knowledge and skills to improve on subsistence farming.
This is what I've been yearning to actually see, because in Liberia today we have so many persons that tell you that I am doing agriculture and I'm doing it with farmers, but they will not take you on the scene to see what you are seeing here today.
For his part, Buama Bafai, Solidaridad Program Manager, said the aim of the project is to empower farmers in subsistence farming and productivity.
We train the farmers to plant the cocoa with full crops, cassava, corn, and plantain. They are done for two reasons. One of the reasons is that cocoa, like shade. Not too much shade, but some shade. So the planting and the cassava would serve as both shade and secondly for food and income.
Speaking at the end of the tour, Representative Prince Tokpa said he was impressed by the level of support given by EU and Solidarity to farmers in Nimba and Bon counties.
What we saw on the various fields, I think we were very impressed. We just want to say in this interview that Solidarity implementing for EU, the government of Liberia, I think Solidarity is doing well. And today we are in Nimba, in this town called Nyempa. Nyempa is another town where we have farmers that have grouped themselves to see how they can improve their own livelihood. So they are involved with Solidarity in getting the cocoa to see how they can plant them to benefit the family, to benefit the community, and to benefit Liberia.
Representative Prince Tokpa was accompanied on the tour by other members of the Agriculture Committee, including Grand Bassa County Representative Matthew Joe and Baron Ziawe of Riverside County. The tour of the House Committee on Agriculture was an eye-opener for the committee in getting a realistic feedback from agricultural activities in two of Liberia's food-producing counties, Bong and Nimba. It is anticipated that the committee will extend its tour to other regions of the country for a fair assessment of Liberia's agricultural sector. Ahmedwa Tamba reporting.
Thanks to Edward Tamba there for that brilliant report from Nimba and Bon counties. Unskilled women and girls in better towns in the second community in Pinsville are stepping up efforts to address their buttress their male counterparts through training to strengthen their economic status. The president of the group behind the initiative, Fifth Modern Women of Liberia, Kulu Mufara, said the women are encouraged in vocational training, baking and training to sustain their families. Madam Kulu Mufara over the weekend spoke to our own reporter Abuya.
We are celebrating our 6th anniversary. We are called Faith Holding Women Organization. We are not a church, but we are an organization. We had 3 days praise revival, and we climb today with a seminar, teaching on 3 topics. 1, the role of Christian women. 2, personal hygiene. 3, etiquette and good manners. As Christian women, we should have good manners in our society, in our community. We should impact other people's life, encourage them to live for Christ and to live for the nation. Because your good manners, your good care, your concern as a Christian will help somebody to build them up. So we are encouraging women of this nation, first of all, serve God and work in this nation to make impact in other generations, in other people's lives. Do not die without leaving a legacy. Make a mark in somebody's life. Do something to encourage somebody.
This import bridge in Lower Virginia is benefiting from routine maintenance work to ensure public safety and preserve the lifespan of the infrastructure. The ongoing maintenance work on the bridge is part of the capacity development in the transport sector project, a part of a $300,000 funding from the German firm GTZ. On Tuesday, representatives from Public Works, GRZ, and a team of journalists visited the Simport Bridge and spoke to Public Works structural engineer Patricia Wonko.
We are doing routine maintenance. We are trying to protect the embankment, the toe of the bridge. We are doing the embankments, and we are on the surface also trying to prepare the decks. As we go along, you will see that we explain further.
So what prompted you to begin on this site?
What prompted me? I work for the Ministry of Public Works and I was seconded on this project.
This particular site, before you started working
why you have to intervene in repairing
because it was very untidy. There has been no routine maintenance work done on this bridge for many years. If you don't maintain the bridges, they are going to fail. That's the problem we have with most of the bridges around here.
How long did you start?
February 1st.
Can you give us a description of the work you did here and how is this impacting the current status of the bridge?
Yeah. Prior to these works, this was like a dump site for people. People were using it for electricity and everything. But as you can see, we are giving a structural facelift that is going to help in integrity.
For their part, representatives from public target infrastructure.
It's simple bridge. One of the bridges we hope to do the Liberia bridge too. So basically, we have brought you out here to see the money that was given to the government by GSL, what it is used for. Okay? And I think practically you have seen what it is used for.
You are the engineer. Are you satisfied with what we've seen so far?
Well, I will tell you, I'm also supervising the job. So instead of being satisfied, I would say definite, because we are here every day monitoring, and we have our engineers on the site to also monitor it.
This $300,000 was given to the National Road Fund of Liberia to trial all the procedures that we have been supporting the government of Liberia to develop and to establish, working with the National Road Fund and working with the Ministry of Public Works. So the National Road Fund is the financing institution now in Liberia for road maintenance and bridge maintenance and reconstruction of roads. And the Ministry of Public Works currently is the institution that is supervising and making the plans for road maintenance and bridge maintenance, and so they are the ones in charge for the quality.
How long will this partnership last?
We have been working in Liberia since this particular project is working since 2008, and we are still now working on the next project phase that should start in August 2019, this year.
Yeah,
for the next 3 years.
Okay, so this is just a pilot project, right? With the intervention of the 300,000. So
yes.
What now you've been on the tour, you have seen work done so far. What do you think? Do you think there should be a need for more funding to speed up the project and move it forward than what it is now?
I think currently we have enough resources for at least to work on the topics that we have been working so far. We're working on road safety, or improving road safety, so we are supporting governmental and non-governmental institutions in Liberia in road safety too. Then we have been working with the Ministry of Public Works on improving the procedures and the standardization of
what happened in quality now. Bishop of the Forward in Faith Ministries International, Bishop George Matengwa of Zimbabwe, has ordained Pastor James Jaba of the Forward in Faith Ministries of West Africa. The ordination comes as a result of his commitment and dedication to service and leadership. The ceremony graced by churches, family members, and well-wishers, as many as shower praises on the bishop for his selfless contributions in moving the church forward. In his post-ordination statement, Bishop George Matengwa said his mission to Liberia was meant to work out plans to move the church forward.
It was to be on this special day that we have already had today, where our bishop was being handed over to the church as a bishop, because on the 27th of January in Harare, Bishop Jaba was ordained a bishop, and I have just come to represent the HQ on this special day, where all the church was gathered and all the bishops and all the other people were here just to celebrate the good things that the Lord has done to our bishop.
But you have other countries in West Africa. Why did you choose Liberia, and especially this bishop from Liberia?
Well, bishop is a calling from God, and I want to believe the servant of God heard from God and the located Bishop Jaba, who is here in Liberia to be a bishop, but otherwise
In remarks, the ordained Bishop James Jabba pledged to make the church vibrant in the sub-region through hard work and dedication.
I'm so excited. I'm excited because I've been in this ministry for 20 years now, 21 years now. And I came to this ministry just as a pastor. And I went up to the place of becoming an overseer. And today now that I'm a bishop, not just for a nation, but a bishop for the sub-region of West Africa. And so I'm so excited for such a...
And briefly off the home front now, reports say Algerians have been celebrating in the capital Algiers after President Abdelaziz Bouteflika announced his resignation with immediate effect after more than 20 years in power. Western correspondents say car horns could be heard in the streets and people waved the national flag and sang in celebration. Meanwhile, one man is quoted by the BBC as saying the need to remove the whole previous regime of President Bouteflika. Well, on that note, that's how we come to the end of this edition of LNTV News Live. Thank you so much for your viewing. Before we go to a quick recap of stories that made headline on this edition, Liberia and Ethiopia pledged commitment to strengthening bilateral ties on the sidelines of President George Weah's visit to Senegal. 3 civil society organizations in Liberia advanced on 8-count recommendations meant to help government in tackling current economic and social issues. Liberia assumes deputy executive chairperson position on the African Youth Committee. And up the home front, reports say Algerians have been celebrating in Algiers after President Abdelaziz Bouteflika announced his resignation after more than 20 years in power. Thank you so much for your view. Join us for our updates at 12, 2, and 4. I've been your presenter on behalf of the entire team. I've been your presenter, Maxwell Johnson, bidding you a very good day from Queensville.